You work so hard for something, months, maybe years. You tell yourself, when I get this, everything will be different. When I hit this goal, when I achieve this thing, then I'll finally be happy. Then I'll finally feel like I made it. And then you get it. You reach the goal, you do the thing, and for a moment, maybe a few hours, maybe a day, you feel it. That rush, that pride. You did it. You actually did it. But then the feeling fades, and you're left standing there, holding this thing you worked so hard for, and you realize nothing changed. You're still you. The problems are still there. The emptiness is still there. And now you don't even have the goal to chase anymore. Now you're just here, and you think, what the hell? I did everything right. I worked hard. I stayed disciplined. I sacrificed. I earned this. So why doesn't it feel like anything? If this resonates with you, you're not alone, and you're not broken. You've just been lied to. We all have. Someone recently sent me a message. They said they finally got into their dream university, something they'd been working toward for years. Grades, extracurriculars, essays, stress, all of it. And when the acceptance letter came, they felt excited for maybe an hour. Then nothing, just this weird emptiness, and they asked me, is something wrong with me? Why don't I feel how I'm supposed to feel? And honestly, I've gotten dozens of messages like this. Different goals, same feeling. Someone gets the promotion they've been chasing. Someone hits their goal weight. Someone finally starts the relationship they wanted. And in every case, the same question. Why doesn't this feel like I thought it would? Because somewhere along the way, someone told you that happiness lives at the finish line. That if you just achieve enough, accomplish enough, become enough, then you'll finally feel whole. And you believed it. We all did. Because it makes sense, right? Work hard, get results, feel good. That's how it's supposed to work. But it doesn't. It never does. And the reason why is simple but hard to accept. Happiness isn't at the finish line. It was never waiting for you there. It doesn't live in achievements, promotions, relationships, body transformations, or any external thing you can obtain. It lives in the process, in the pursuit, in the meaning you give to the actions themselves, not the outcome. But we've been conditioned to think the opposite. We've been taught that life is a series of goals. Childhood goal, get good grades. Teenage goal, get into a good school. Young adult goal, get a good job. Adult goal, get married, buy a house, have kids, retire comfortably. And if you hit all these checkpoints, then you win. Then you're happy. Except nobody who's reached those checkpoints feels like they won. They just feel tired, relieved maybe, for a moment, but not fulfilled, not complete, because the goalpost always moves. There's always another level, another thing to chase, another standard to meet. And this is by design. Capitalism, social media, hustle culture, they all thrive on you feeling incomplete. Because if you ever feel like you have enough, you stop consuming, you stop chasing, you stop being useful to the system. So they keep dangling the carrot. They keep telling you, just a little more, just one more promotion, just a few more followers, just a little more money. Then you'll be good, then you'll be happy. But it's a trap, because the feeling you're chasing isn't tied to the achievement. It's tied to the gap between where you are and where you want to be. The pursuit itself gives you purpose. It gives you direction. It gives you something to work toward. And when you close that gap, when you reach the goal, that purpose disappears. And you're left with nothing but the question, now what? This is called the hedonic treadmill. No matter what you achieve, your baseline happiness returns to where it was before. You adapt. The new thing becomes normal. The promotion becomes your new baseline salary. The relationship becomes routine. The dream body becomes the body you see in the mirror every day and stop noticing. And so you set a new goal, and the cycle repeats. And it will keep repeating until you die, unless you step off the treadmill and ask yourself, why am I doing this? What am I actually chasing? Is it the goal itself, or is it the feeling I think the goal will give me? Because here's the truth. The feeling you want, the peace, the contentment, the sense of being enough, that's not something you achieve. It's something you choose. It's a decision you make right now, in this moment, regardless of what you have or haven't accomplished. But that's hard to accept, because if happiness isn't tied to achievement, then what's the point of trying? If the goal doesn't matter, why work hard? Why push yourself? Why do anything at all? And this is where most people get stuck. They think it's binary. Either goals matter and happiness is at the end, or goals don't matter and nothing matters. But it's not binary. It's both. Goals are useful. They give you direction. They help you grow. They give you something to organize your life around, but they are not the point. The point is who you become in the process of pursuing them. The point is the actions you take every day, the habits you build, the discipline you develop, the challenges you face and overcome. That's where the meaning is. Not in the trophy, not in the outcome, in the work itself. I had someone tell me once, they spent 3 years building their YouTube channel. Grinding, editing, uploading, optimizing. They hit 100,000 subscribers and they felt nothing. They thought they'd feel accomplished, validated, like they finally made it. But instead, they just felt pressure to keep growing, to hit the next milestone, and they realized the number didn't matter. It never did. What mattered was the process, the creative work, the expression. But they'd been so focused on the subscriber count that they forgot why they even started. This is what people mean when they talk about enjoying the journey. But that phrase has been so overused and turned into some Instagram caption nonsense that it's lost all meaning. But it's true. The journey is all you have. The present moment is all you have. The goal is just a concept. A story you tell yourself about the future. But the future never comes. It's always now. And if you can't find meaning in the now, you won't find it in the goal either. So what does this mean practically? Does it mean stop setting goals? No. It means change your relationship with them. Stop placing your happiness, your worth, your sense of self on the outcome. Set the goal. Work toward it. But detach from the result. Do the work because the work itself is meaningful, because it aligns with your values, because it makes you better, not because you think it will finally make you feel complete. And when you reach the goal, acknowledge it, celebrate it, sure, but don't expect it to change your life, because it won't. You're still the same person, and that's okay. Because the goal was never the point. The point was the person you had to become to reach it. But even this is hard, because we're wired to want more, to seek, to strive, to improve. It's in our biology. Our ancestors who were satisfied with what they had didn't survive. The ones who kept seeking, kept striving, kept improving, they're the ones who passed on their genes. So this restlessness, this constant wanting, it's not a flaw, it's a feature, it's what kept us alive. But in the modern world, it's killing us because there's no finish line anymore. There's no moment where you've gathered enough resources and you can rest. The game is infinite, and if you play an infinite game like it's finite, if you keep thinking the next goal will finally be enough, you'll lose. You'll burn out. You'll achieve everything you thought you wanted and still feel empty. So how do you win an infinite game? You stop trying to win. You stop treating life like a problem to solve, a checklist to complete, a mountain to summit. You start treating it like what it is, an experience, a series of moments. Some good, some bad, most somewhere in between. And your job isn't to optimize every moment, to maximize every outcome, to achieve some idealized version of success. Your job is just to be here, to show up, to do the work, to find meaning in the doing, not the having. And I know this sounds abstract. I know it sounds like philosophical nonsense that doesn't help when you're grinding, when you're stressed, when you're chasing something because you genuinely believe it will make your life better. But I'm telling you from experience, from watching others, from the pattern that repeats over and over, the goal won't save you. The achievement won't complete you. The external thing, whatever it is, won't fill the void. Because the void isn't a problem to fix. It's not something that gets filled by accomplishments. It's existential. It's the human condition. Everyone feels it. The people who seem like they have it all, they feel it too. They're just better at hiding it. Or they're so busy chasing the next thing that they don't have time to sit with it. But you can't outrun it forever. At some point you have to stop. You have to sit with the emptiness. And you have to realize that it's not a bug. It's not evidence that you're broken or that you haven't achieved enough. It's just life. And the only way through it is to accept it, to stop fighting it, to stop trying to fill it with external things and start building meaning from within. And meaning doesn't come from goals. It comes from values, from relationships, from contributing to something bigger than yourself, from doing work that matters to you, not because it impresses others or hits some arbitrary standard, but because it aligns with who you are and who you want to be. A lot of people write to me about this exact thing. They're in their 20s, 30s, sometimes older. They've done everything society told them to do. Got the degree, got the job, got the house. And they're sitting there thinking, is this it? Is this what I worked so hard for? And they feel guilty for even asking, because on paper they have everything, but inside they feel nothing. And the worst part is they don't know what's missing. Because nothing is missing. That's the point. You don't need more. You don't need the next promotion, the next relationship, the next achievement. What you need is to stop thinking that something external will fix what you feel internally. This is why people who retire after decades of work often feel lost. They spent their whole lives chasing the goal of retirement. They thought, when I retire, then I'll finally relax. Then I'll finally be happy. And then they retire and they have nothing to do, no purpose, no direction. And they realized the work was the meaning, the pursuit was the point. And now that it's gone, they don't know who they are anymore. So don't wait until retirement to figure this out. Don't wait until you've achieved everything you think you need to achieve, because by then, it might be too late. You might have spent your whole life chasing a feeling that doesn't exist, sacrificing the present for a future that never delivers. Instead, ask yourself right now, what would my life look like if I stopped placing my happiness on future outcomes? What would I do differently if I accepted that no achievement will ever make me feel complete? Would I still chase the same goals? Would I still work as hard? Or would I do something different entirely? And if the answer is that you do something different, then maybe it's time to reassess. Maybe the goal you're chasing isn't actually yours. Maybe it's something you think you're supposed to want. Something society told you matters. Something that looks good on paper but doesn't actually resonate with who you are. Because here's the thing, not all goals are created equal. Some goals are ego-driven. They're about proving something, about being seen, about validating your worth through external measures. And those goals will always feel empty when you reach them, because they were never about you. They were about other people's perception of you. But other goals, the ones that come from a deeper place, the ones that align with your values and your sense of purpose, those feel different. You still might not feel a lasting high when you achieve them, but you'll feel something more important. Alignment. The sense that you're moving in the right direction, that the work you're doing matters, not because of the outcome, but because of the intention behind it. Someone once told me they spent 2 years training for a marathon, not because they loved running, but because they thought finishing a marathon would prove they were disciplined, that they had willpower, that they were better than the version of themselves who couldn't run a mile. And when they crossed the finish line, they felt nothing, because the goal was never about running. It was about proving something to themselves and to others. And proof doesn't create fulfillment. It just creates more pressure to prove more. So if you're constantly reaching goals and feeling empty, maybe it's not that goals are meaningless. Maybe it's that you're chasing the wrong ones. Maybe you're optimizing for things that don't actually matter to you. And the emptiness you feel is your internal compass telling you, this isn't it. This isn't what you actually want. You're just going through the motions because you think you're supposed to. And if that's the case, the solution isn't to stop setting goals. It's to set better ones. Ones that come from you, not from external pressure. Ones that you'd pursue even if nobody ever knew. Even if there was no recognition, no reward, no validation, because those are the goals that actually mean something. But even then, even if you're chasing the right goals, you'll still feel the emptiness sometimes, because that's just part of being human. We're meaning-making machines. We need something to strive for. But we also need to accept that the striving itself is the point, not the destination. I think about this a lot, about how we're all just trying to fill some void, some emptiness that's always been there and probably always will be. And we think achievements will fill it, money will fill it, relationships will fill it, but they don't, they can't, because the void isn't something that needs to be filled. It's something that needs to be accepted. And that's terrifying, because acceptance feels like giving up. It feels like settling, like admitting defeat. But it's not. Acceptance is freedom. It's the realization that you don't need to keep running. You don't need to keep chasing. You can just be here, right now, as you are. And that's enough. This doesn't mean you stop growing. It doesn't mean you stop trying. It just means you stop tying your worth to outcomes. You stop thinking that the next thing will finally make you whole. Because you're already whole. You always were. You just forgot. So here's what I want you to take away from this. Stop waiting for the goal to save you. Stop thinking that the next achievement will finally make you feel complete. It won't. It never does. And that's okay. Because the goal was never the point. The point is the person you're becoming, the actions you're taking, the life you're building right now in this moment. And if you can find meaning in that, if you can learn to appreciate the process instead of just obsessing over the outcome, then maybe, just maybe, you'll stop feeling so empty when you reach the finish line. Because you'll realize there is no finish line. There's just the next step, and the next, and the next. And that's not a curse. It's a gift, because it means you always have something to work toward. You always have a reason to keep going. But here's the thing that nobody talks about. Sometimes the reason to keep going isn't some grand purpose. It's not some meaningful mission. Sometimes it's just because today is better than yesterday. Sometimes it's just because you made someone smile, or you learned something new, or you did something you were scared to do. And that's enough. That's always been enough. We just convince ourselves it's not. I think we've been sold this idea that life is supposed to feel a certain way, that happiness is this constant state of contentment and peace, but it's not. Life is messy, it's uncertain, it's full of moments that don't make sense and feelings that contradict each other. And that's normal, that's human. So stop expecting the goal to fix that. Stop expecting external achievements to make you feel internally complete, because they won't. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner you can start finding meaning in what actually matters. The people around you, the work you do, the moments you're present for, the small wins, the daily grind, the process, that's all life is, a series of moments. And if you can't find meaning in those moments, no achievement will ever give it to you. So keep going, but stop placing your happiness at the end. Bring it with you. Find it in the work, in the struggle, in the small things that don't seem to matter, but actually do. Because when you look back on your life, you won't remember the goals you hit. You'll remember the moments in between, the late nights working on something you cared about, the conversations that changed how you think, the times you failed and got back up, the times you were scared and did it anyway. That's what matters, not the trophy, not the title, not the number on the scale or the screen. The moments, the process, the journey. And if you can find peace in that, if you can stop chasing the finish line and start living in the present, then maybe you'll finally feel what you've been searching for all along. Not because you achieved it, but because you stopped needing to. I believe in you. Now believe in yourself.